his 6th year with Central Michigan. Let's take a peek at the lineups for today. Neither team will go very deep. We talked about Conchar and Williams in the open, but keep an eye on Sean Roundtree for Central Michigan. He won the most valuable player in the Great Alaska Shootout, and also Bryson Scott, who averages over 22 per game. There is John Kaufman, the energetic 4th-year head coach of Ford. Got a busy day for you here on CBS Sports Network with 4 games in the first round of the CollegeInsider.com tournament. This one, the Hugh Durham Classic, and it will be Central Michigan to get the opening possession.
And both these teams are going to keep you busy, Matt, because neither one of them pulls the ball out and resets very often. These are 2 teams that are going to get up and down the floor, attack the rim, and let it fly from beyond that 3-point line.
Chippewas 19 and 14 during the course of the regular season. Fort Wayne 18 and 14 out of the Summit. Chippewas in the Mid-American Conference. Meyer will take the 3 and hit.
And that's why he's such a tough matchup, his ability to stretch it that deep at his size at 6'10", yet he's 6th in the MAC at 42% from deep.
Opening set here for the Mastodons.
You see Central Michigan, they play matchup zone throughout. You get so matched that you get man-to-man. And that's where you've got to be able to try to beat them off the bounce and attack the rim, as Taylor did.
Former transfer from Bradley, played a couple of years. Hails from Chicago, Illinois. Another quick trigger from Meyer. That one off the mark. Scott, the drive. Roundtree in transition. You think this game, obviously, short turnaround for both of these teams. They didn't learn they'd be playing against one another until Saturday, and the early noon start here on a Monday.
Yeah, for these teams, it's not so much about the matchup and worrying about your scouting report. In any of these secondary postseason tournaments outside of the NCAA, the biggest thing is worry about your team. If you come ready to play and if you execute, that's what you've got to really concentrate on. It's less about the opponent and more about your own team.
Chippewas in transition. Meyer can't get the short jump hook to go.
And Meyer was a little hesitant on that catch.
Levitch from the outside connects.
And when they make that extra pass, which they do quite often, Fort Wayne really shares the basketball. Levitch got the ability to stretch you out from beyond the 3 as well. 43%. Doesn't take a ton of threes, Matt, but he's efficient.
Sophomore out of Louisville, Kentucky. Good drive and take to the basket from Cecil Williams, who I think, Rob, might be the one guy for Central Michigan who can develop that interior game that helps the Chippewas.
Yeah, exactly. And he's the guy that can put it to the deck and get into those gaps and get by people off the bounce.
Taylor at the foul line. Good little spin inside and out to the basket.
And it's funny, talking to John Kaufman yesterday, he said, we'll go to him early. He doesn't take a whole lot of shots, but they come at the beginning of each half.
Averages about 7.5 per game. He's got 4 so far today. Scott.
And that's what he does. He gets wherever he wants with the basketball. Gets into the lane. They get paint touches on about 70% of their possessions most of the time because the ball in Scott and Conchar's hands, and both those guys get into the lane.
Scott, a guy who averages over 22 per game. Played a couple of years at Purdue before settling in here with Fort Wayne. Mastodons, the early 1-point advantage. That's Levitch again from the outside. A 3 and a timeout by Keno Davis. Wayne out of the Summit, Central Michigan out of the MAC, and all of the other games that you'll see today. We've got it all covered for you. Love this time of year with March.
Yeah, and a great opportunity for teams as well as players to extend their season and in some cases extend their career.
Fort Wayne by 4. Each team has had an early 4-point advantage. Will change quickly here with Gavin Peppers coming off the bench, the junior from Maryland, and hitting from the outside.
So Fort Wayne doing a good job attacking that 2-2-1 pressure from Central Michigan, which is designed to kind of slow things down, but they've blown by the pressure.
Scott again, boy, he is tough when he gets to the rim.
Yeah, and he puts such pressure on you because he's always seeking contact. He's a hard guy to referee, as John Kaufman talked about yesterday, because he's jumping in and looking for that contact every time he gets in the lane.
6 games during the course of this year, he was 30 or more points. Most of that going to the rim. Peppers on the baseline cut off. Shot clock winding down, did not get it off. Fantastic defense from the Mastodons.
Well, Bryson Scott, one of the top 10 scorers in the country, and as you said, Matt, he gets it done inside in the paint. As a 6'1" guard, he's got the ability not only to get there, but to finish plays. Does an unbelievable job of getting himself to the foul line as well, where he scored 198 of his school record points in a season from the foul line.
We mentioned neither team will go very deep. Fort Wayne with their first sub, Dylan Carl, the 6'11" redshirt freshman from Michigan, getting his first action. And we've seen the second sub from Central Michigan check in, Kevin McKay, who's a dynamic scorer off the bench, averaging just under 12 per game.
Yeah, their most improved player, and really he's a sixth starter. He plays starter minutes.
There's McKay, lost it. Scott wins the foot race and is bumped by Peppers on his way to the rim.
And not often you can be too unselfish on the basketball floor, but Williams was on that possession. Got himself deep in the lane, you got to go score it. Instead, looking for his teammate, tossed it away.
First foul on either team today. Good worked out inside by Levitch to try and keep it alive, but it will be Central Michigan basketball. There's John Kaufman, quick shot of the former finance guy who was in San Francisco, got back into coaching and has not looked back.
And not surprising, he is a numbers guy as a coach as well. Really looks at how his team's going to score the basketball. It's all predicated on getting paint touches on every possession. There's another one. A lot of it's dribble, drive, and penetration, not so much on post-ups.
From the outside, Carl can't get the long three.
And that's what he does. Another big guy that stretches you out with his three.
Nice drive and take to the basket from Sean Roundtree Jr. Had 21 earlier this year against Michigan. He's got 5 so far today.
And such an important part of why they've been able to improve their win total from last year.
Travel call. It will be Fort Wayne basketball. Host of subs checking back in for the Mastodons. We get our first look at Jordan King, number 21. Matt Weir, number 33. Taylor returning as well.
And if you think about this Central Michigan team, I mean, they lost the nation's leading scorer last year in Marcus Keene, who averaged 30 a game last year. Yet they've improved their win total by 3 so far because Roundtree has come in as a junior college transfer and really taken over that point guard spot.
Good skip. Conchar off the mark. Steals, gets it back, and jams it home. Elevation from the redshirt junior.
And that's why he's on NBA radar, because he does so many different things. Leads the league in steals, 8th in the country at 2.5 per game. That turned into a quick, easy 2.
Turnover from Central Michigan. Fort Wayne will get it back.
Well, he's got great court awareness. You know, he misses his shot, yet he doesn't give up on the play. He realizes the outlet's coming. That's being able to see the play one play ahead. He's got great basketball IQ to go along with the athleticism, length, and skill set.
Unselfish player as well. Team high 152 assists on the year. You mentioned he's on the radar screen in terms of the NBA. A couple of the draft boards and projections. Now, keep in mind, he's got another year of eligibility, but he's on that. Yep, he's in that category right now.
Well, and he's a guy that would, if you're into analytics, which the NBA is so much, he is so efficient as a basketball player. He puts up double-double after double-doubles, 36 on his career, 9th best in the country.
This one chipped out. Here comes Fort Wayne.
Good recognition out of the double. Not one extra pass, but 4 on that possession.
Open look, just off from King. Did see that ball movement you've been talking about.
Absolutely. As a coach, you can't have a better offensive possession than that, but you don't get anything to show for it on the scoreboard.
Roundtree to reset.
Nice slip.
Inside out, and the drop in from Nwoku.
And Bleacher with the terrific feed inside.
Conchar. Down low, Taylor. Shot clock to 6. Conchar will take. Innocent Nwoku tracks down the rebound. The stop and pop from David DeLeo will give Central Michigan back the lead.
And he's one of those guys, when he hits his first couple, watch out, a streaky three-point shooter. He's got a school record in threes already this season at 83.
Getting it back. Taylor, not sure he realized how open he was. He will go to the rim and get fouled.
Well, both these teams do so much from beyond the three-point line, but you got to have some balance. Nice slip inside on the
2 o'clock. Pretty even matchup from what we've seen so far, and I think kind of what we've expected.
Yeah, and good pace. This is the first foul shot attempt of the ball game, so there haven't been a whole lot of whistles, not a lot of stoppages. Good flow in the early going.
This is Xavier Taylor, the former transfer from Bradley. Strong inside presence and connects with the free throws. Big body, 6'9", 255. Aside. Kaczynski on the outside, couldn't get it to go. Tracked down by McKay.
A nice dribble drive, got the penetration kick out, unable to convert, but on the closeout, you get yourself in situations where you don't have great blockout responsibility. That allows for the offensive rebound.
DeLeo. Back to McKay. Locked and loaded, and hits the triple from the outside.
And that's the one part of his game he's got to continue to work on. You can see a little bit of a hitch in his shot, but he has really improved from last year. Scored it at under 2 points per game, only played 4 minutes per game. He's become a huge part of their offense this year as a sophomore.
Gets the steal here. That's what he does. Team high 56 steals coming into the day, and will draw a foul. You talk about Kevin McKay, how important, Rob, to have a guy off the bench that, as you said, plays starter minutes and fills up the stat sheet as well.
And as we said, this is one part of his game. It's not the prettiest release there on the three, but he worked so hard in the offseason. He's gotten so much better. And Keno Davis says if he can really improve on that three-point shot, he says he can make open shots like he did there, but if he can really step in and be comfortable with that three, he's got a chance to be an all-league player.
This is Matty Smith on his way to the rim. It will be Fort Wayne basketball. Chippewas by 3. There's Keno Davis in his 6th year, former head coach at Providence. Stops in the assistant ranks along the way at Southern Indiana, Southeast Missouri State, and Drake. I think you could probably qualify him as a basketball legacy, correct?
Absolutely.
Son of the former head coach most notably at Iowa, Tom Davis.
I say BC with the John Bagley days.
Okay.
But certainly one of the great coaches. Won just under 600 games, and Keno at his side the last couple of years at Drake as an assistant, and then Keno took over and had that magical year in his first and only year as the head coach at Drake. And he ended up being the National Coach of the Year as they were able to win the Missouri Valley, nationally ranked 28-5 in that first year. They're the only father-son combo to be named National Coach of the Year.
Second foul on Harrell, second team foul as well. You know, the Central Michigan team, you talked about improving win-wise, 19-14 overall. So good in the non-conference this year. They play in the western part of the Mid-American League that, Rob, I know you are very familiar with. It's a tough league overall. Buffalo, the automatic qualifier this year, and won the conference championship.
Yeah, and the Bulls, a very good team, and they would have been one of those teams you could have picked as a potential upset special. Problem is, they did not get a good draw. They drew Arizona. They got a 13 seed. A lot of people, including Joe Lenardi, thought they were going to be a 12 seed, maybe in play for an 11. Their RPI was 25. The reward they got is seeing Arizona, who was misseeded as a 4 seed. And the Wildcats playing as well as anybody, and they've got by far the best player in the country. So not a good draw for Buffalo out of the MAC.
First foul on Redmond, third team foul on Central Michigan. I saw Arizona play up close and personal this year. They are massive to look at in the front line.
And the way that DeAndre Ayton's been playing lately, oh my goodness. And he's looking a little bit like Wilt Chamberlain out there lately.
Levitch gives up the three. Weir will not. And we've got a foul on the floor. We'll stay with Fort Wayne.
Well, you'll notice the multiple three-point lines out on the floor. This building home of the G-League Mad Ants. And that's just about at the NBA three-point line as he toes it up well beyond the yellow line, which is the college three-point line.
Meyer's first, team's fourth. 8.5 to go in the opening 20 minutes. Tachar from the outside.
Now he's misfired from deep, and so far here now, Fort Wayne not shooting the ball well from beyond the three-point line. It's a team that averages over 10 made threes per game.
Now 2 of 13 from the outside. Biggest lead of the night now for Central Michigan, which is 7 after that three ball. Corey Redmond off the bench, who doesn't score a bunch.
Well, there's been a problem for Fort Wayne the last couple of games. They've gotten off the slow starts. They've been down by 23 in each of their last 2 games and have had to make big comebacks late in the second half.
Fort Wayne's last game, they lost to North Dakota State 86-82 in the Summit League tournament. Wide open, Meyer. McKay keeping it alive. Meyer getting it back, and the easy drop in at the rim. A 7-point lead for the Chippewas, part of a 9-2 run from Central Michigan.
And right now they're winning the battle of three-point shooting by a good margin.
It's Taylor. Tip-in attempt on Levitch. Meyer feeling it from the outside.
And you just cannot allow that to go. That's what you've been talking about in your scouting report the entire time. Their ability. It's because he stuffs the stat sheet. He's got a steal. He's got an assist. He's got 3 rebounds. But he's only got 2 points, and he's 0 for 4 from beyond the three-point line. And the Dons are going to have to start making some shots from the outside. This matchup zone from Central Michigan, most of the time they get so matched up that it's really man-to-man, but you got to be able to find some open looks.
Let's see what John Kaufman drew up out of the timeout.
Great extra pass.
Conchar. Friendly roll, and what a much-needed basket. Was halfway to saying 0 for 5.
Yeah, and it looked like it was a deep 2. I think his foot may have been on the line. They awarded him to. The officials will probably take a look at that at the next stoppage in play.
Weir curling around, open at the elbow. On the run is Peppers, right to the rim, stuck in no man's land, and will turn it over.
Well, we've seen Fort Wayne share the basketball, make the extra pass a number of different times, but most of the time they've come up empty. Here on the nice drive, and then got the ball deep in, that extra pass out to Concher. He's able to get the friendly bounce as it was able to climb over the front rim.
Definitely a 2 at second look. Driving, good move to the basket, that time by Jordan King off the bench.
And Fort Wayne hasn't gotten as many paint touches, especially over the last 5-6 minutes. They got to get back to that dribble penetration like you saw from King.
DeLeo.
That is a tough step back three. That is really hard to guard. Looks like he's coming off the high ball screen, kind of rejects it and steps back. But as we said, he is a streaky three-point shooter. And right now he's hit his first couple. Watch out.
There's Bryson Scott getting back to the rim where he's comfortable.
Yeah, but the Dons better figure out how to start guarding the three-point line. It's been a decent strength for them in the season. Right now, Central Michigan on fire from deep.
8 of 14 for Chippewas.
Nice pass.
Good finish as well by Meyer.
Well, that's great interior passing, a little pocket pass right off the bounce. And this time Meyer was able to be aggressive on the catch. Earlier we saw him tentative and not go up and score it right away.
Scott, a little hop step in the lane. Will draw the foul and go to the free throw line, of which he is among the nation's best getting to the stripe.
As we said, he's coming into the game here tonight. He's scored 198 of his school record, 718 points coming in from the foul line because he gets there. And now he's really improved his free throw percentage. Last year he shot it at 69%. This year he's up to 82. That's 7th best in the Summit.
Beechler's first, the team's 5th. They're going to go to the line often. You've got good opportunities to add to that point total. The lead right now is 7 for Central Michigan. Less than 4. Roundtree going away from the screen. Meyer. Inside. Taylor lost it. Got it back. Muscles his way towards the rim.
Nice way to stay with it. Looked like he was going to turn it over. Instead turned it into 2 because, as you said, just bullied his way inside.
Roundtree had it swiped at by Weir. It'll be Central Mission basketball when we come back from this timeout.
Now, terrific interior passing from the guy we highlighted at the start. Williams with the nice dump off. Chippewas out to the 5-point.
.com tournament. We haven't had a chance. I know you like it as well. 2 of the cooler nicknames in all of college basketball.
I've used it Chippewas a few times in the Mastodons.
Off the timeout, McKay kicking to the outside. The hot shooting continues. The 9th three-pointer from Central Michigan. Josh Kozinski, the senior.
And he's the 7th different Central Michigan guy to knock down a 3. So you don't have to concentrate on one guy when they can spread you out and everybody can make threes. Really hard to guard that line.
Backdoor cut from Jordan King. Keeps Fort Wayne within 6.
Imagine that. 8 different players making a 3. They recruit to that skill set. Keno Davis has always made the three-point shot such a big part of what he's done at Drake, as well as Providence, and now here at Central Michigan. But for 8 guys to step in and make them in the first half, that's why you've got yourself a 6-point lead.
Scott with the three, and hits.
I'll tell you what, he has brought his scoring game as he has all year long. He's been in double figures every game, and double figures here in the first half.
Three-point game, McKay from the outside again.
Here's a memo. You better start guarding those guys in maroon out at the three-point line. Holy cow.
10th three-pointer for the Chippewas. Team's heating up right now. Jordan King has been a spark plug off the bench for Fort Wayne. He's got 7.
And after starting just 2 of 14 from beyond the three-point line, the Dons starting to heat up.
Less than 2 to go in this first half. Here's Roundtree, open down the right side of the lane.
He just took that handoff and able to turn the corner and get right to the rim.
Taylor, the catch. Good body control.
He has certainly given him a lift here. He's got 12 here in the first half, all of them inside.
McKay driving. Referees conferring with one another. That will go on King. It's his first.
Here's Taylor again getting it done inside. Takes a little body contact, able to finish through it because he puts it up on the glass.
McKay's free throw is good. We've talked about him shooting the three and kind of pulling back and then letting it go. Does the same thing on his free throws.
Watch this. He's got a little Jim Furyk to his foul shot, right? Watch how he kind of locks and loads, but then once he gets it into position, much like Furyk with that wild, wacky backswing, when he gets to contact, he's got his hands in the right position. Same there for McKay. He's got a good elbow pocket once he gets there.
Nobody makes the golf basketball transition better than Rob Kennedy. Scott inside the lane. He will draw another foul.
Well, yesterday in the sports world, that's all that was going on. Right? Selection Sunday and Tiger making a run. So might as well bring them back both in. I was going to go Jamal Wilkes, but Jamal Wilkes wind up and get there, but I think a lot of our viewers don't remember Jamal Wilkes.
You don't want to date yourself too much.
It's easy to date myself. Oof.
Scott, a rare miss from the free throw line. Hits at about 82%. Just when it kind of looked like Central Michigan might pull away in the first half, Fort Wayne has battled themselves back to make it a 4-point game.
Absolutely, and if you think about it, they've given up 10 threes, yet they only trail by 4.
Kaczynski the catch and shoot. Tipped out to Weir. Less than a minute to go. Taylor. Well, that would have been a highlight reel. Scott restoring order with plenty of time on the shot clock. Open from 3 and good. It might not be the best part of this game, but Bryson Scott with his second made 3. He's got 15.
And he's been shooting it better coming in. 6 of 13 from deep over the last 3 games. And sometimes when you start seeing the ball go through the net from deep, that confidence continues.
Central Michigan holding for 1. Up by 1. Roundtree in trouble. At the buzzer, off the mark. Good flurry for the Mastodons to finish. 3 more games tomorrow and 1 more later this week, with everybody trying to, a term you'll get used to, survive and advance in postseason play. Fort Wayne basketball to start, and Scott picking up where he left off.
And that was Fort Wayne basketball. Dribble, drive, penetration, get a paint touch, and Scott finishing at the rim.
17 for Scott. He had 7 in what was a 12-7 run at the end. And he's red hot to start, as is the rest of his team. Jackson Levitch from the outside.
Well, he was the guy that got him off to a hot start in the first couple of minutes when he knocked down 2 of 3 threes in the first 4 minutes, so he starts the second like he started the first.
Meyer, whose name we called a bunch during the course.
Wait, is this the second half? Because Meyer did the same thing to start the first half.
12 points for Luke Meyer, the senior from Addison, Michigan.
Relatively quiet first half for Conchar.
Scott was looking for the hometown bounce. There's Roundtree giving Central Michigan back the lead.
Yeah, that's just too easy. That was a blow-by, little inside out with his left hand. Able to go right by Conchar.
Scott in the corner. Levitch. A lot of these attempts by Fort Wayne have been halfway down.
Yeah, they've gotten good looks from beyond the three-point line. A couple of wide-open ones that just haven't gone.
Roundtree wants to reset things. Another step back jumper. That's smooth.
Yeah, that was a good use of the bounce, able to use his dribble to get into the lane, and then some separation off the step back. You see Central Michigan uses that 2-2-1. They don't trap a whole lot out of it. They're not necessarily looking to force turnovers, but they are looking to force the Dons to take some time off the clock.
Taylor lost it on his way up. Roundtree's fouled on his way. We haven't had a ton of time to talk about it, though it's been referenced. Sean Roundtree won the most outstanding player for Central Michigan back in the beginning of the year in the Great Alaska Shootout, in which Central Michigan were the champions. That seems like ages ago, though, however.
And what will be the last playing of the Great Alaskan Shootout. Used to be one of the best preseason tournaments in the country. That in Maui for so long. It was a good win for them. Part of a school record 11 non-conference wins on the season. Got off to the great start. They started the year 12-2, struggled after that.
Howell had to go to the bench with his third. Scott continues to be good on the drive. 19 for the redshirt senior, hometown boy from Fort Wayne.
And they're going to have to figure out how to keep him out of the lane. Remember, they play matchup zone, so you don't have a particular guy guarding Scott each time. Nobody's been able to keep him out of the lane.
Meyer open again.
He is the perfect pick and pop guy.
6'10 and a half. It's tough to guard. Shooting threes over the top of everyone. Levitch. We've said it a couple times, Rob. The looks are there for Fort Wayne.
And they'll continue to fire. It's such a big part of their offense. 44% of their field goal attempts come from deep. So they're not going to shy away from it.
6 of 21 from the outside today, starting the second half, 1 of 4. It's an offensive foul on Kevin McKay.
Well, that's just terrific on-the-ball defense by Levitch to move his feet, get to the spot first, and you see just a little bit of the shoulder lean by McKay to send it the other way.
There's Keno Davis, Great Alaska Shootout champ. There's the correlation to his father, Tom, who won the same tournament with Iowa.
And that will stay for a long time, as we said. Great Alaskan Shootout expected to go away.
Conchar.
I think that was for Scott, but Taylor there to snatch it out of the air. It makes it look like giving him an assist on that one, even though he didn't mean to throw it to Taylor.
14 for Taylor. He said that ball looks too good coming over. I'm going to grab that.
A free safety making a play on the ball.
McKay thought about it. With 10 on the shot clock, Central Michigan to reset. Williams leaving off. McKay's three is good.
McKay stepping into those threes with confidence, despite the fact he only had 10 threes on the season coming in, but he's already got 3 here tonight.
14 off the bench.
That's the extra pass again. Conchar, though, gets the assist this time because they finally convert from the corner. Weir knocks it in.
Weir's first bucket of the afternoon.
Conchar to have a few more assists if his teammates made a couple of those open threes.
Peppers going to try one from long range and hit.
Wow. I mean, they hit 23s in a game earlier this season. They're on pace for that number again.
If anybody during the course of whatever tournament you might be watching say is an early start could bother shooters, they are not paying attention to this game.
No, what bothers shooters, though, is some defense, and there hadn't been a whole lot of defense from either team here today. Well, here's a little defense on the offensive end. I'm not sure if we're going to give Xavier Taylor a steal, but the ability to stretch multiple guys from beyond the three-point line, including their bigs. I mean, you look at the size of Meyer to be able to step back and knock down threes. He's got 3 on the game. Makes it really hard. And for some bigs, it's just not natural for them to have to go guard guys out that far on the perimeter.
Scott, a little delay into the lane. What body control from Bryson Scott.
Yeah, he's like a heat-seeking missile. He just goes and finds the contact, yet he still finishes. Some guys go find contacts and can't make it because they're jumping sideways. He's able to do both.
McKay answering back. 16 off the bench.
And as fast as the pace has been, Matt, both teams have taken care of the basketball. Just 10 turnovers combined.
Weir is fouled on his way to the rim and will go to 2. You know, Bryson Scott, 22 points per game, just over 22 a game. He absorbs contact, Rob, like he's a running back.
Yeah, and he goes and finds it. You see right there, he just bounces off of Meyer. And most guys, when they put their shoulder down and go seek that contact, they can't come back and then finish because too many times you're jumping out instead of up. He's able to do both. That's a pretty good quality.
All-league guy. His brother also in his 5th year, plays at Indiana State. Mentioned he spent a couple of years at Purdue before coming back here to his hometown of Fort Wayne.
The guy who's undefeated in his career against Indiana. 2 wins here for Fort Wayne as they blew out Indiana up in Bloomington this year by 20 after winning here in this building the year prior in a great game. And then he was also undefeated against the Hoosiers when he was at Purdue.
Scott feeling it. Driving again, and again absorbs contact and drops it in.
Yeah, absorbs and finishes.
23 in what's now a tie game.
And they're going to have to figure out how to keep him out of the lane. As we said, it's out of the matchup zone, so sometimes you can't just put one guy on him, but somehow you've got to keep him from dribbling into the lane time and time again.
Loose ball foul on Fort Wayne. Makes it look easy.
Yeah, ball fake because he's making some threes. You get the defender off the ground, and then he just drives right by 3 different defenders. Somebody's got to get up and push him off the spot and get him out of the lane.
You talked about off the inbound, that one off the mark and rebounded. You talked about these postseason tournaments, not the NCAA, but for a guy like Bryson Scott, it's an opportunity for him to be on display as long as Fort Wayne continues.
Yeah, and he wants to continue his career. He's a senior. Why not play some more games?
Beachler from the outside. Scott had it. The catch and finish plus the foul from DeLeo.
A bad bounce right there from Fort Wayne. Looked like they were going to come up with a stop and go the other way. Instead, ball ends up in DeLeo's hands. And watch this ball fake. That is a terrific ball fake to get Scott off the ground. He really sold it. can't just show the ball. You got to make sure that the defender thinks it's going to be a shot.
Leo just under 80% from the line on the season. Short with that one.
So Concha trying to direct traffic there at the high post against the zone. A little hesitant right there. That's a chance. He gets the ball at the high post. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive. That's the one thing that some of the NBA guys would like to see him do a little bit more. Be a little bit more of that killer instinct. And, you know, he's so unselfish. Sometimes he defers to his teammates to a fault.
2 of 6 so far today from the floor. You wonder with Scott a hot hand. Taylor's been good. That's somewhere in the back of his mind. Williams backing his man down. Levitt, pretty good defense. Gets Fort Wayne back to basketball. Wide open look from 3. Harrell can't get it to go. He had Carl wide open underneath.
Yeah, they had the 2-on-1 break, but again, the three-point shot's such a big part of what they do. I think that was a situation where Harrell hasn't gotten many opportunities and may have forced it.
McKay continuing his fantastic play off the bench with 18. It's a team high. He's averaged 17 over the course of the last 9 games. Harrell says, I'll take that one.
He's been quiet because of the foul trouble and finally gets off a good clean look. His first field goal of the game.
It's a guy that averages 14. You've got Harrell and Conchar, 2 guys who are plus 14 per game. Slow starts. There's DeLeo curling around. He's been efficient with his opportunities today. He's got 13.
Yeah, which team, though, you get the sense if anybody's going to lock down and play a little bit of defense, then all of a sudden maybe they can get on a run. There have not been many stops in this game.
Levitch. Shot clock to 3. Carl. Not sure that he saw it, and then at the last second tossed it up there. That is a shot clock violation, so Central Michigan in basketball off the media timeout.
Well, Fort Wayne stroke
rest comes back in. He has a game high 23. Chippewas by 4.
Good defense by Scott, reading that flare screen.
Kaczynski short. Loose ball foul that should be on Cecil Williams. An open format to this tournament, so the winner of this game, not 100% sure who they will have in what would be the second round. There were 4 teams who received opening round byes, part of a 20-team field overall. Scott gives up the 3. Tipped up by Taylor. Good finish from the big man.
He has done that all game long. Those additional points in the paint. He's got 16 now. And the reasons why they've survived a relatively off shooting night from beyond the three-point line.
16, 7 of 9 overall shooting the basketball. Chippewas will turn it over, so Fort Wayne can tie with a 2, take the lead with a 3.
Yeah, Taylor and Scott have combined to go 16 of 20 from the floor because they've gotten a lot of shots inside the paint. This time he goes, earns it with the offensive rebound and finish inside, showing you his strength.
Conchar, fade away. Good time to heat up for John Conchar.
A bad time to fall asleep getting back defensively. Both these teams like to rush the ball up the floor off of makes. The problem for Fort Wayne is they haven't been able to do that because on makes, Central Michigan in that 2-2-1 pressure to slow them down.
Great feed. Extra pass. Taylor is fouled.
Yeah, that is great vision, but just reaching around and finding a heck of a feed by Conchar. We've said he's done a good job as far as filling up the stat sheet in other ways. He's got 7 rebounds now, 6 points and 4 assists, and he'd have a few more assists if they knock down a couple open threes.
Second foul on Williams, Central Michigan's 5th. Kevin McKay checking back in. Square at 71, 6-0 run. Less than 9 to play. Great cut by Williams, and he's rewarded with the basket.
A nice find by Luke Meyer. Pretty nice when your center can step out, knock down threes, and pass the ball from the high post the way Meyer does.
Driving by Scott. My goodness.
And he was off balance, so that's just a smart play to put it up on the glass. So many guys get off balance. If you don't put it on the glass, that's not going in.
Roundtree resetting. 12 on the ticker. Long range bomb for Sean Roundtree Jr.
Well, he had the mismatch there as Taylor on the switch had the assignment outside, so Roundtree just stood him up and raised up for 3.
Scott looking to answer back.
Man, they've got to do something to keep him out of the lane.
Out of adjectives to describe the way that Bryson Scott gets to the rim. It has been fantastic, as has this one. 76-75, Chippewas.
30 or more 6 times, well on his way to making that 7.
Central Michigan basketball with the Chippewas up a point. DeLeo, catch and shoot. Wow, David DeLeo has been good.
And that's the second time they've gotten him an open look on baseline out of bounds coming out of a timeout. He missed the first one a few minutes ago. He didn't miss that.
He is 6 of 9, 4 of 7 from the outside, 16 points. Credit Keno Davis for that, right? Well drawn up play off the
Absolutely.
timeout.
Coming out of timeouts, you want to dictate where the basketball goes on a baseline out of bounds, and terrific execution by his team.
DeLeo here.
That was deep. It was again outside the NBA 3.
Williams, the long rebound, lost contact with it, and it will be Fort Wayne basketball.
Here's what we're talking about. Good execution. They get the basketball in. And there he is, hiding behind a little double screen. Rolls back around it. And DeLeo adds to his 82 threes on the season coming in. That was 7th best in the MAC.
Just a sophomore from Iowa City. Scott down in the trees. A rare miss from Bryson Scott.
But the size of Meyer bothered him on that one. And Williams has been quiet on this end for Central Michigan. His teammates' threes, though, have not made that a big factor.
There's a tip by DeLeo. Some players thrive in this environment, and David DeLeo, a guy that's doing that right now with 18. Timeout. Watch out the brackets for the NCAA tournament and have some college basketball to watch here on Mid-Major Monday. It's a Fort Wayne timeout. Rob, if you're John Kaufman, what are you telling your team right now?
Well, two things. One, get this guy involved. Concher's got to get involved in the game. They get that right on cue. And then the second thing is you got to start guarding people at this end of the floor. It's just been way too easy from Central Michigan. Not enough defensive resistance from Fort Wayne.
This is Conchar's first made three of the day. DeLeo. The three here for the Dons would tie it.
Remember, Fort Wayne really good in this building throughout the entire season. 13-2 at home. And they're in the midst of a 22-game win streak against non-conference opponents.
King ties it up at 81. Both teams comfortable in shootouts. Fort Wayne on the year averaged over 82 a game. Central Michigan in 3 games has scored more than 100. 5 ties, 5 lead changes is what we've had so far today. Foul on the floor on Harrell.
Well, that's a tough call going against Fort Wayne there. Looked like he did a good job trying to get around on the post defense. 3-point shot, such a big part of what they do. Good ball fake, make the extra pass. That allows King to step into it with a good wide open look.
Harrell has to sit again. He's got 4. DeLeo.
Wow, again another look.
Meyer had a shot partially blocked, I think, by Scott.
That's the 3rd time they've freed up DeLeo for a good look from 3 on baseline out of bounds.
Fort Wayne takes the lead with a bucket. Taylor thinking about it. Driving. Reverse for Xavier Taylor, and the Mastodons go up by a deuce.
This is my team to pull an upset in that first round.
Fort Wayne leading here by 2. Roundtree stripped away by Conchar, and then went off of the thigh of Roundtree.
Remember, he's top 10 in the country in steals per game. This isn't going to be a steal, but it's a big defensive play. As Concher with those active hands slaps down. Got a lot of basketball as it goes off Roundtree's leg.
We're pushing the tempo. Fort Wayne's biggest lead today has been 4. King. That would have been a big one. Roundtree is short. McKay poked at it. Weir couldn't grab it. Chippewa basketball.
Well, both teams continue to shoot it at over 50% on the game. So which team's going to be able to lock down here in the last 3.5 minutes and start guarding somebody?
Williams fade away to tie it at 83.
Yeah, and Williams had been quiet up to that point. Really hasn't had a lot going on offensively. That just is 6th point for the game, but that was a big one. And that was good defense. You can't say nobody was guarding him on that. Hand in the face, but better on the step back and finish.
Weir driving. Conchar from the outside.
Good challenge by McKay to run at him and getting a hand in his face to bother the look.
Chippewas regained the lead with a bucket. McKay on Taylor. Bumped on his way. That's going to be the 6th team foul on Fort Wayne.
And you don't want to put Central Michigan on the line, as we said in the open. 81% from the line on the season. 2nd best in the country for Keno Davis's team. Let's see if they get DeLeo for another open look.
First foul on Taylor. DeLeo bumped. He will now go to the line for 2. That's also the 7th team foul on Fort Wayne. So the Chippewas will be shooting free throws the remainder of the day.
And you love those specialties, right? Baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds. I knew the basketball was going to DeLeo. It wasn't from behind the three-point line this time, but good execution again on the set to get the ball in his hands.
There's Keno Davis in his 6th year here.
Done a good job turning this program around. This will be the 4th consecutive year that they finish 500 or better. The best run since back in the early and mid 70s.
20 points for David DeLeo. Average is just 11.6 coming in.
So both coaches took time out and their teams responded. A couple of minutes ago it was a Fort Wayne timeout from John Kaufman, and they went on a 6-0 run.
Scott, the double crossover going to the rim. He is fouled and will go to the line. That's the 16th foul on Central Michigan, so they're one away from sending Fort Wayne to the bonus. 2nd on McKay. Make it 28 for Bryson Scott. Don't forget, coming up at 2 o'clock, we will send you to Iowa for Drake and Abilene Christian. Scott just offered that one. 1-point advantage for the Chippewas. Good poke out by Levitch, who then got chop blocked unintentionally by Roundtree. But a foul nonetheless, and that's going to be the 7th team foul on Central Michigan. So free throws coming for Levitch.
A great defense by Levitch to read the play. They were trying to get the ball to DeLeo's hands. Knocked it free. Keno Davis is saying they both were going for the basketball, got there at the same time. Looking for an explanation, didn't get the explanation he wanted.
Levitch's first free throw ties it at 85, just 63% from the line this season. Makes 2 of 2 and gives the Dons back a 1-point lead.
There's a pick and pop.
McKay driving, defended by Levitch. A shade of a late whistle will send McKay to the line.
I always like the late whistle instead of the early whistle. Make sure there's contact, and clearly there was.
Team foul number 8 on Fort Wayne.
And despite this different looking foul shot, McKay so effective from the line. On the season, he was 2nd best in the MAC conference at 85%. After shooting it at 51% last year, so he really worked on that.
Let's talk about taking the advantage of the summer. Second one is good. He's got 20. And his team back up by 1.
There's a soft 2-2-1 pressure.
Conchar looking it over. 12 on the shot clock. 3 by Harrell. It's good. Rolled around a little bit.
He's still the best three-point shooter on this team. Took a while to get going.
Meyer's 3. It's good. Answers right back to give Central Michigan a 1-point lead.
And you think the game's going to go one way and it goes sideways and completely different. Not the case here today. This is exactly what we expected coming in. High scoring, a ton of threes. Both teams have certainly played well offensively, but somebody's got to get a couple of stops on this side of the floor defensively.
Scott, hesitation. Harrell missed the three. And that an open look.
And that was an offensive rebound opportunity there for Conchar. He looks a little gassed out there. He didn't make an effort for that offensive board.
About a 21-second differential between game and shot clock. Roundtree. DeLeo. Fort Wayne, with the shot clock turned off, can hold for one.
And remember, they play matchup zone, so it's a little bit more difficult to dictate where it's going to go. Fort Wayne's going to play it without the timeout. Put the ball in Conchar's hands. Let him make a play.
Scott. He's been the guy driving. He is offensive foul.
Well, he said it earlier in the game, and he is difficult to officiate because he's always looking for that contact. This time looked a little bit too hard for it. He gets called for the charge.
Fort Wayne will use a timeout. Fort Wayne will look for the early steal. They do have one timeout. They don't get it. The foul will come. Scott will commit his third.
As we said, not a lot of good choices out there. Roundtree at 84% on the season, sixth best in the MAC conference. And I'll step to the line with two big ones here now.
3.7 remaining. Start to think in advance with one timeout remaining. With two made free throws, if you are John Kaufman, do you advance to midcourt and try and take a timeout, or you just let him go quicker? We had it. On the day, Central Michigan 7 of 9 from the line. Right now in the hands of the junior Sean Roundtree. First one is good.
And not just good, true. That hit nothing but net. So 3.9 even on the make here. Remember, plenty of time for John Kaufman's team to get the ball up the floor. On a miss, on the catch, you got to call the timeout right away.
Roundtree's got 13. Make it 14 on the day. And
for the Mastodons.
Levitch to inbound. Conchar is fouled with 3 seconds remaining.
And that's why Keno Davis took that timeout, to be able to set up. Didn't want Fort Wayne, a terrific three-point shooting team, to have an opportunity to tie it up. So instead, Conchar to the line. Here's where you got to make the first.
It is a 1-and-1. First one, no good. Tipped out and last touch by Taylor.
Yeah, now John Kaufman's going to ask the officials to go to the monitor and check it out. Anytime late in the game as a coach, you do that, because guess what? There's an assistant.
The inbound. Thrown in quickly, DeLeo, who is fouled. You've just been handed. Luke Meyer will be named as the Hugh Durham Classic MVP of this first round game. Right now with 18 points. And a game-high 7 rebounds.
And that could have gone to a lot of guys. That could have gone to McKay, who certainly has had a big effort off the bench. But that's how Central Michigan has been built all season long. They've got 5 guys who basically average in double figures. And much like they've done all season long, they have spread the wealth as far as scoring it.
Certainly DeLeo would have been a worthy candidate.
Yep.
21, now 22. Ball will be put in. Fort Wayne will have their season come to a close and wrap up at 18 and 15 on the year. The Chippewas